So basically the TLDR of this whole situation is that there's a YouTuber called The Completionist. He set up a charity in his mother's memory for dementia and other related diseases. And it came out through a series of sort of YouTube investigation videos that Mudaha from Some Ordinary Gamers and Carl Jobs did that pretty much uncovered the fact that all the money is still just sitting in the charity fund and hasn't been passed on to any like research organizations or anyone like that would benefit from the money. And over the last 3 weeks or so, everyone's been saying that this dude, Some Ordinary Gamers, needs to come out and make a video response. So yesterday, or like kind of, yesterday, a video, he dropped a video where he tries to explain the whole situation. And it goes for like 19 minutes and 20 seconds. So we're going to try and speed run our way through it and pick apart some of the points that some other people have brought up. And that essentially, I feel like it's a 19-minute, 20-second video that this guy's put out that kind of really doesn't get to the core of any of the problems.
Over the past few weeks, allegations have been made against me, my family, and our charitable organization, the Open Hand Foundation, asserting charity fraud and more. I'm here today to provide clarity and transparency to set the record straight. I want to make it 100% clear. At no point in the Foundation's history was there any criminal or financial fraud. None. I also want to touch on why I've been quiet for these last few weeks. A lot of folks have been saying that if I didn't do anything wrong, that I should have said something sooner, or that my conversation with the accusers was considered my full side of the story. But when there is allegation after allegation being made, it takes a long time to gather the evidence and facts to refute claims. This will be my only video response on this matter. I can confirm that as of Wednesday...
Okay, so straight away you can just see that this is written by his lawyer. Like, it's just like the whole thing of like coming out with a statement thing. Like, I get... it just doesn't look good for him. It should be a very off the cuff, like there should be a clear answer, like we didn't pass the money on for this reason, and I don't know, the most, I guess, charitable fucking interpretation of why he's going on podcasts saying that he fucking saying in a certain way that it seems very concrete that the money has been passed on. Maybe that he was just, I don't know, like flexing or got overexcited about raising that amount of money and wanting to, and it being passed on, or even fucking, I don't know, or being so removed from the administrative, like I guess the top level or the oversight or the books of the charity that you don't know, that you just don't know, which I'm pretty sure is what he did imply in one of his in one of the interviews that he did with Mudaha and Carl Jobs. But anyway.
November 29th, 2023, the Open Hand Foundation has donated $600,000 to the Association for Frontotemporal Degeneration. However, it did take too long to get to this moment, and for that, I'm sorry.
This
money
bit.
is now in frontotemporal degeneration. Wednesday, November 29th, 2023, the Open Hand Foundation has donated $600,000 to the Association for Frontotemporal Degeneration.
Okay, this makes you look worse. This makes you look worse because it's like you... I don't know. It makes it look, maybe not worse, but it looks weird, which I guess in this context is worse. Because he fucking... Like it hasn't been getting done. The money hasn't been getting passed on for all this time. But then all of a sudden, when a couple of YouTubers just look into it and go like, "Hey, bro, what's going on here?" It's like, "Oh no, here it is.
However,
we donated it." Like it's fucking I don't know. Just like the prompting of a few YouTube videos from someone else just looking into it, and then all of a sudden all of a sudden does become very easy for you to pass the money on to somewhere and just finding an organization that you deem acceptable and just giving it to them. I don't know, that makes it look even weirder in my opinion.
To get to this moment, and for that, I am sorry. The money is now in good hands to make a lasting impact. For more information on the donation, there will be a link down below that you can check out. Now, to further provide context on the Open Hand Foundation, my mother got sick when I was young. She was diagnosed with frontotemporal...
And, okay, this section is all just completely fucking irrelevant. It's very unfortunate that his mother passed away. I have full sympathy for him for that. But this is all just an appeal to emotion. And this is what, like, a lot of people are saying in the comments of this video. It's just an appeal to, like, again, okay, if I were to play, like, devil's advocate or the most charitable interpretation of what's going on here is, like, you would turn around and go, this is him giving context, but then again, like, what context does it give? It's like anyone that's remotely invested in this story already, or anyone that is invested enough to be watching this video, that's to be a minute and a half into the video, anyone that's following this knows the backstory. And the shift in tone and body language and shit like that in this section of the video, as opposed to like what comes next, is interesting.
Generation, a form of dementia that far too often goes undiagnosed or misdiagnosed. I was 10 years old when signs of her dementia started showing up. She was officially diagnosed with FTD 4 years later when I was 14, and she died when I was 25. My mom's battle with this disease lasted nearly 15 years, and after experiencing the struggles and hardships of caring for someone with dementia, we decided to start a foundation in her honor. Before this, my family had been donating money as well as spending time with my mother, academics, and doctors to help them with their own understanding of FTD. My father runs an annual golf tournament, and this golf event hasn't always contained a charitable component, but has always been in dedication to my mother to bring awareness to FTD. I would often be present at these events, but beyond giving an occasional speech, I was not and still am not involved in any of the event planning. In 2018, I took two things I'm passionate about, indie games and charity work, and started IndieLand to highlight the indie game community and raise money in honor of my mom for a good cause. During several recent IndieLand events, press interviews, and podcasts, I went on record saying where the money was going to and that the Open Hand Foundation had worked with various organizations. At different points, the foundation had been in communication with or considered several of them, but it was not appropriate for me to make such statements when final actions had not yet been taken. The Open Hand Foundation's goal was to make a large impact by donating the money to the right place, and a lot of the conversations that were had with various organizations involved the funds not being restricted or came with extremely high administrative costs. Look, anyway you say this, action needed to be taken. And to that point...
Okay, so this is like the big point of contention that a lot of people have got with this video is the fact that he's saying that he's acknowledged that in the clips that he was talking about that the money, that he was speaking in a manner that would indicate that the money's been passed on, but then the timeline doesn't add up in terms of like what he was saying in one of the interviews about like it's something roughly along like the timeline of like he became aware that the money hadn't been passed on in 2021, I believe, from memory. And then there's a clip of him on the Friends Per Second podcast. Again, I'll insert it here if I can find it, or if what I'm remembering in the timeline and shit is right. But basically, of him saying that the money is being given or has been given, and he names specific organizations. I believe one of them's like the University of Seattle or some shit like that. I'll insert it here.
I run my own charity called the Open Hand Foundation, and all the money that we aggregate, I started it when I was a young boy with my dad in honor of my mom who had dementia, and so we just every year we try to raise as much money as possible, and then we go work with Alzheimer's Association of America, University of San Francisco, Association for FTD, which is what my mom had, FTD. So we've like worked with big and small organizations across the board, and he was like, it'd be really cool if we did a show.
I'm sorry. I'm disappointed that I was not more straightforward regarding the foundation's timeline for making donations, and that I made statements potentially implying donations were made when they had not yet been. It took too long for clear action to...
Potentially implying. No. Just no. Again. No.
And I apologize for all of this, but such inaction was not done for any selfish or malicious reasons. I want to take this opportunity to apologize to any developers, publishers, content creators, and special guests who were involved with the various events. I'm also very sorry to this year's IndieLand sponsor. Their team was incredibly supportive and were a great partner to work with. Most importantly, I want to apologize to anyone who ever donated over the years who felt they were wronged or led astray by any of this. Dementia is an incredibly important cause to me and my family, and so many of you at home. Advocating for more awareness has been such an important part of keeping my mother's memory alive. As the Open Hand Foundation board is currently restructuring, I'm taking this time to step away from my role as a board member. I am no longer a part of the Open Hand Foundation. For the foreseeable future, should the event continue, IndieLand will solely be focused on highlighting indie games. There will be no charity component. I love helping the indie game community and working with developers, and if there are developers out there that want me to play their games, I would be honored to continue to do so. I would now like to take a deeper look and respond.
It's hard to take this shit. The scripted response video is always hard to take seriously and to take earnestly. Yeah, it just feels like a politician or something coming out and like, yeah, it's not... A scripted video is not the move of someone that's innocent, because it would all be fairly easily explainable. And when I mean innocent, I'm like... innocent, even if it's just of like in the best case scenario, it's just gross negligence and kind of stupidity. You set up a fucking charity, you run all these events, you fucking do all this shit, and then you just don't pass on the money. And it's like, even though now he has donated the money, and this is a point that other people have raised, it's like 600 grand is not today worth what it fucking would have been. Okay, it's probably unfair to say 600 grand because I'm pretty sure that's the cumulative amount. So it's not like they started 8 years ago with 600 grand or whatever the total amount of donations is. But things are like the economy and everything, as we all know, is only getting like the state of things is only getting worse by the second. Inflation is only getting sort of like worse like right now as I'm speaking. So to have not donated all of the money in a timely fashion as it was coming in, like even though you've donated a lump sum now, it's still just not going to go as far as what it would have if it had have been passed on when it should have been.
to some of the many accusations made. Much of this is going to be dry and complicated because we're dealing with business finances, tax-exempt nonprofits, the IRS, and legal issues. But serious allegations need a serious and thorough response. I will also have included links to official government websites, reliable third-party sources, and copies of relevant Open Hand Foundation documentation related to all these topics in the description down below. Let's start with the Open Hand Foundation's formation. When my mother passed away in 2013, we donated her brain and spinal cord to the same academics and doctors we worked with to further advance their research. There's a link in the description to her autopsy report that confirms her brain and spinal cord were both donated to science. This was an extremely personal decision for us. Because of my family's history, we had considered all legacy efforts that we had personally made to be a part of the Open Hand Foundation's history, which ultimately led to its creation.
Now here's another glaring problem. If you go back to any of their filings, for instance, this is from 2016.
Okay. So this is this is the section of the video where he's like responding to Mudaha and Carl Jobs' videos where they go through the particulars of like whether it's a public or a private charity, and like they get into like US tax law and stuff like that. Obviously something I fucking have absolutely no knowledge about. That section like a second ago where he's like going into his mother's spinal cord or basically detailing the decision to donate his mother's remains to research. Was that up for debate, or is that relevant to the money? Like, is that, I could be missing something here, but like, why does that come into the whole conversation's about the money, is it not? I don't think anyone's doubting that his mother passed away, and like, what kind of psycho would doubt that, or the fact that her remains were donated to charity, to research. Sorry, but this is all just words. So the fucking like, you said you were donating it, and you weren't.
Raised from Indieland and its supporters was ever used on anything to personally benefit me, my family, or any of our companies. We never touched this money nor ever moved it. As evidence in the public documents,
this is
no
the
one at
bit where he
foundation has ever
starts to
drawn a
go
salary.
fucking
Saying that we are fraudsters,
beast
that what we are
mode.
doing is illegal and constitutes charity fraud, that we are using my dead mother's name to potentially embezzle money and steal is categorically false. I should have been more transparent about the money not being donated, and that's on me. But my family and I have not done anything illegal, not before then and not since. And as mentioned previously, we have correspondence from the IRS to prove that. Furthermore, my family and I are in serious conversations with our legal teams regarding next steps, as the allegations that have been made with complete disregard for the truth of the matter. These allegations were made by individuals who self-admittedly aren't even financial or legal. These allegations are slanderous, and we believe we're done with selfish intent. They have directly jeopardized the safety of me, my staff, and my family, and that is not okay. I want to reiterate and specifically address that both the foundation and I have been accused of forgery, embezzlement, and charity fraud. The allegations imply the foundation forged tax returns because they weren't physical signatures on them when we e-filed them, or that we altered numbers to hide income or expenses. We can account for every single dollar received and spent in the last 9 years. We do not have anything to hide. And due to the overwhelming amount of people who have been instructed to file complaints to the IRS and Department of Justice, we understand an audit may be coming, and we welcome it. Our legal and financial teams have assured us that we have done nothing criminally wrong or illegal. Any possible issues in our paperwork can only be described as clerical errors and are easily amendable. Content creators and influencers should be held accountable when faced with serious allegations. However, the narrative can get taken so far away from the truth that the court of public opinion supersedes fact. I recognize and take accountability for all of my actions. At the same time, I am not going to let my reputation be compromised by allegations that are not true. I own up to my part in this, but I will not be painted as someone who's a con artist and embezzler. I won't be someone whose name gets tarnished without putting up a fight. I owe it to my friends, my family, and myself to stand up to this situation right now. I want to leave you all with how the Open Hand Foundation
and then he switches back to fucking Mr. Wholesome Chungus Nice Mate. All right, we don't need to fucking watch the rest of this. This is all just fucking, I think you fucking get the picture. But the shit of it is a 19-minute and 20-second response video where you don't really say anything and you don't address the core of the problem, which is like, why the fuck was it not donated, and why were you so concretely saying it was donated? That's just all it boils down to. And if you look in a lot of the video comment replies and stuff like that, and a lot of what everyone's saying is that they all sort of quite a majority of people agree with that sentiment. They're like, this like is just a fucking like wall of text style post that just doesn't fucking really get to the fucking heart of it. So and it's interesting too, but like, I mean, this is definitely a lawyer written, co-written, like a lawyer fucking ghost wrote this for him, because fucking he's not going to, like, I mean, putting the caveat on it that he's not going to be saying any more is such a like lawyer thing to do, and then like having a teleprompter style like appeal to emotion at the start and end, but then to go fucking beast mode and the sound you're fucking you defamed me. It's just like, no, dude, you're not gonna scare people off with that. It's not gonna fucking work. And like, Ah, fuck, dude. I don't know. You comment down below. Do you think this absolves him? I don't think it fucking really does. I don't think this does much for him, to be honest with you. I don't fucking really think this helps. I think this the main thing to take away from this is that I will not be responding any more shit. So it's just like yeah.